What if I told you that after months, maybe even years of grinding through LSAT prep, you could still underperform on test day because of a handful of completely preventable mistakes? It's true. When I speak with students after the LSAT, they rarely say I didn't know the material. Instead, they say, I couldn't focus because the proctor interrupted me, or I wasted too much time panicking over one tough question. These are simple, avoidable mistakes that can wreck your score. So today, I'm going to share with you the 7 biggest LSAT test day mistakes that consistently sabotage even the smartest, most prepared test takers. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what they are, but also exactly how to avoid them. And stick around to the end because I'm going to share a bonus tip, something that's become a real game changer for many of my students. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, my goal for you today is to save you from that awful feeling of, I wish I had known this before the test. Mistake number 1 here. Let's start with something basic but often overlooked, where and how you practice. If you're not using LSAC's Law Hub platform for your practice test, you're making your first big mistake. Private prep materials could be fine for drilling questions, but no prep companies are even allowed to perfectly replicate the LSAT interface you'll see on test day itself. But Law Hub is the real deal. The fonts, the highlighting tools, the way the timer works, the layout, it's all identical to the official test. Now, why does this matter? Because the LSAT tests not just your reasoning, but your ability to handle the format under timed conditions. On test day, you don't want to waste mental energy thinking, wait, how do I underline a sentence here? Or why does the timer look different? You should feel like you've done this exact thing a dozen times before. I've seen students who practiced only on PDFs or third-party platforms walk into the official interface on test day and panic when they realize the tools don't behave the same way. With LSAC's Law Hub, you get dozens of real, actual official LSAT exams and the confidence that comes from knowing exactly what test day will look like. Now, the second big mistake is letting the proctor throw you off. Proctors can be a wild card. Whether you're taking the LSAT at a parametric testing center or at home with a remote proctor, they can feel disruptive, and some students get rattled as soon as they see someone pacing behind them or getting interrupted by a chat message or a voice prompt mid-section on the remote LSAT. So here's what you want to do. At the start of the test, before you begin the first section, politely communicate with the proctor. For the remote LSAT in particular, you could type a short message saying, if you need to speak with me during the test, please pause my timer. Are they always going to pause it? Not necessarily, but often they will, and at the very least, you've done what you can on your end to set the expectation. And if a new proctor comes online in the middle of your test, yes, that can happen, politely repeat the same request. You're signaling that you're aware of the rules and you respect the timing. By taking initiative, you can regain a sense of control and reduce the impact and the occurrence of these interruptions. I can't stress this enough. Your composure is huge on the LSAT. Too many test takers let a single interruption derail their entire section. Don't let that be you. Now, getting stuck on a single question might be the most common mistake I see students make on the official LSAT. If you come across a tough question and you just can't figure it out, you get bogged down spending 3 minutes, then 4, then 5, trying to decode it. Meanwhile, the rest of the section is waiting for you, and every second you waste now means fewer questions you'll even get to, let alone answer correctly. Remember, no single question is worth torpedoing your entire section. Every question on the LSAT counts the same. It's not like a game show where tougher questions are worth more points. So if you get stuck, flag it, skip it, move on, and come back to it later. If you have time at the end, you could circle back with fresh eyes. Often returning later gives you a new perspective that makes the question suddenly seem easier. I personally had a student who was aiming for 170 plus and missed it because she got hung up on a single tough reading comp question that ended up costing her several guessable questions at the end. After implementing a skip and return strategy, she regained control over her pacing and boosted her score by 5 points on her next LSAT attempt. So practice this technique during your prep. Get comfortable with the idea that you don't need to win every individual battle right away. You can come back and conquer it later. Now, the fourth big mistake here is obsessing over the countdown timer. I know it can feel like a ticking time bomb, and watching it count down second by second can feed your anxiety and break your concentration. But the good news is that you can hide the timer. During the section, you just click it to make it disappear. It will reappear automatically with 5 minutes remaining, but that's totally fine. You can handle a little bit of pressure at the end. In practice, teach yourself to work without obsessing over the clock. Your goal is to develop an internal sense of pacing. If you know roughly how long it takes you to handle logical reasoning questions or a reading comp passage, you don't need to stare at the clock. Checking it now and then is okay, but don't let it become a constant visual distraction. Students who learn to trust their pacing and only glance at the timer here and there perform better because they focus on the content, not the time. Stress wastes mental energy, which is energy that you need to solve tricky questions. Mistake number 5 is carrying past mistakes into the next section. It's all about mindset here. Once you finish a section, it's over. You can't go back. But I've seen test takers spend their entire break between sections panicking over questions they might have missed. Then they carry that stress into the next section. And guess what? It hurts their performance there too. It's like lugging around emotional baggage you don't need. The LSAT is a test of focus and present-mindedness. The best performers treat each section like a fresh start. When it's over, it's over. Don't dwell on the past. A powerful strategy here is to practice mindfulness. That doesn't mean meditating for an hour every single day, although you can. Even just a minute or two of focusing on your breath before you start studying can help a lot. Over time, you develop the mental discipline to let go of what's behind you and fully commit to what's in front of you. Mistake number 6 is believing it all rides on this one test. The LSAT is, of course, crucial for admissions. I'm not going to downplay that, but believing this one test date is your only shot will ratchet up your anxiety to an unmanageable level. Anxiety leads to bad decisions, second guessing, and sloppy mistakes. And the truth is, law schools only consider your highest LSAT score on record. They do not average multiple attempts. If you bomb this one, you can always retake it, and the LSAT's offered several times a year, so you have options. Knowing you can try again if something goes wrong takes the edge off. Pressure, of course, is good to a point, but too much pressure can break you. Mistake number 7, which I'll share now, and then one more bonus tip in a moment. Mistake number 7 is trying new strategies on test day. Test day is not a time for experimental tactics. You should have already locked in your pacing strategy, your approach to each section type, and even your break routine well before the official test. By the time you sit down to take the LSAT for real, you should feel like it's just another practice test you've already done many times. If you want to try something new, like a different approach to tackling reading comp or handling tough logical reasoning questions, try it during practice tests, not on game day. The unfamiliar breeds uncertainty, and that uncertainty fuels stress. Now, I'll share that bonus tip in just a moment, but before I do, I wanted to let you know that if you'd like my help getting ready for the LSAT whenever you're taking it, my team and I would be glad to help you out on your journey to scoring a 170 plus. At LSAT Unplugged, we offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You can check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, here's the bonus tip. It regards searching using Control F, as well as LSAC's own search function. A few years back, LSAC allowed you to use Control F on the day of the test itself, which was enormously helpful, particularly when it comes to searching through reading comp passages, saving you a lot of time. Those days are now gone. LSAC has removed that feature. They've locked it down so you can no longer use Control F. They've replaced it with a built-in search function, but it's unreliable and slow. You can test this out on LawHub directly to see for yourself. Don't count on being able to use it properly on LSAT test day. So instead, you're going to want to develop a robust method for understanding the passage's structure, knowing how to quickly locate details, highlight or underline key phrases, and take brief mental or written notes about where important elements appear. If you can train yourself now to navigate the passages efficiently, you're not going to need a search function to bail you out. Now let's recap the 7 biggest LSAT testing mistakes. Number 1, not using LawHub to practice on the official interface that you'll experience on test day. Number 2, letting the proctor or interruptions disrupt your focus. Number 3, getting stuck on a single tough question instead of moving on. Number 4, obsessing over the countdown timer and letting it stress you out. Number 5, carrying mistakes from one section to the next rather than letting them go. Number 6, believing everything rides on this one test attempt and ignoring the option to retake. Number 7, experimenting with new strategies on test day instead of sticking to a well-rehearsed plan you've already worked out. Plus the bonus tip, don't rely on the search function. You're not going to have control of to save you, and LSAT's search function doesn't work that well. If you can avoid these pitfalls, you walk into test day feeling confident, prepared, and ready to crush the test. If you found this video helpful, my team and I would be glad to help you out on your journey to 170 plus. Check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best. Good luck on test day and take care.